Hello there, and welcome to this video. Inside this box here is some Dreamcast goodness. As you might have guessed by the title of the video, and hence why you're here, that inside here is two new Dreamcast shooters. These are games that I pre-ordered back in 2021, so I'm dead excited to be here in sort of April of 23, and they finally arrived. And so this is basically how the box came to me, and I removed the label that had my address on it for various reasons, and we split along the tape here, and we're going to have a little look inside. So inside the packaging itself, very well wrapped, you've got these two. So you've got Andro Dunos and Andro Dunos 2. The first game here is by the Visco Corporation, and if you didn't know, Pixel Heart bought their back catalogue a couple of years back now, and this was one such title that was included in that deal. And this was released in 1992 on the Neo Geo, but it's not the first time that we've seen a Neo Geo port from Visco over to Dreamcast. We've seen Breakers before this, Bang 2 Busters, and various other different ones as well. Gamrio, as a sort of an example of some of the stuff. Captain Tomaday, I think, is another one. So yeah, Pixel are no strangers bringing over Neo Geo games to the Dreamcast, and this is one such title. Now, I believe that this may have released a bit earlier than Andro Dunos 2, but I pre-ordered them both at the same time. So I think how Pixar do it is they ship out the games once the extra game has been released, so it's all done on parity at the same time. So I just really want to take you through the pack. I'm not going to show you any gameplay today because there's plenty of Google reviewers out there that will probably show you some captures of it. So I'll show you the packaging instead. So let's do quite a close-up of this. As you can see, the cover looks quite nice. We've got Pixel Heart Limited written in the top corner there, which is a sticker on the outside of the cellophane. So sadly, we will lose that when we do a deep dive on opening this inside in a minute. Usual stuff here. You've got Visco written at the bottom, Josh Prod written on the right hand side. At this point, I'm pretty sure that Josh Prod and Pixel Heart are one and the same. I mean, feel free to correct me about that, but I'm fairly sure that they are pretty much the same establishment. So you've got Dreamcast written here, which is you find out every single retail Dreamcast case. So that's a nice little touch. Front cover is devoid of anything other that says it is on Dreamcast, though, which is a wee bit of a shame. Now, I'll tell you why that is, and this is a bugbear for me with every single independent Dreamcast game that's come out in recent years, is you used to get ones that used to have the Dreamcast banner and then like the Dreamcast swirl in blue on the front covers. And I really like that aesthetically. It's really pleasing. It's something that should be on every Dreamcast game from October 2000 onwards. And these now don't have it. They used to. The earlier stuff from Josh Prod did. And also the first of the big box Wave Games releases, I think, was Intrepid Izzy, had the Dreamcast banner on the case, which is really, really nice. And sadly, they've also shied away from doing that, which it's not a big thing, but it is a slight annoyance to me. What also is actually quite annoying is I've noticed that they've, even up to the last release that Josh Prod and Pixar were doing, they were still at least putting the Dreamcast swirl with Dreamcast written on the spine, which now they haven't done that at all. It's just Pixel Heart written there. But at least they've kept to the typeface that you would find on the later games, because they all went to, rather than having logos on the boxes, the text, which was around the same time as adding the Dreamcast banner. You've got Josh Prod written down here, which on the retail releases you'd probably have a T letter and then a number of whatever the retail release was, stockist number or whatever. On the back, we've got primarily French as our main language, and then English is the second one down, and subsequent European languages going through. And this is copy number 55 of 2000, so it's actually quite a low numbered one. Quite pleased with that. And that's actually on the inlay itself, so that's not on the case, so that's nice that it's not ever going to wear away. We've got 2022 Pixel Heart Corporation written on there, which is always kind of cool to see, like a contemporary Dreamcast game, 2022 written on a Dreamcast almost retail looking release. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little look inside. It hasn't got a tear strip as such. It's kind of just shrink that together. Obviously I don't see these are going to be like worth hundreds of quid when it's all said and done, so I can go ahead and open this. As you can see there, as I said, you lose the sticker. Right, so let's go ahead and see. Oh, she's definitely a new Dreamcast case. You can feel that. Let's try and open this without breaking her. Okay, and then sure enough, here she goes. Right, so just a standard CD-ROM. Obviously, independent developers of Dreamcast can't use the GD-ROM format because it was discontinued many years ago. What you would have had on retail releases here is having the Dreamcast logo and Sega Europe's information, but naturally these aren't licensed by Sega, and also you can't develop these games using the Sega software development kits. So these are done on sort of third-party Dreamcast development tools. Standard sort of silverback CD, which is nice. It's very much in line with the previous Pixel Heart releases. So if you've picked one of those up before, you kind of know where you are with it. No surprises there. This is something that's quite a recent addition, actually, that they didn't used to do in the older style releases, was a certificate of authenticity. It's only been sort of in the past couple of years that Pixel Heart started to do this. A lot of the earlier stuff that they released didn't have a sort of numbered release or anything like that, even though they were indeed limited to the amount of copies they printed. That's a shame. They haven't got the blue on the back anymore. That's basically almost the same manual that you would get, I assume, in the just the standard Japanese or US style cases, which are just in the standard sort of slim CD case, rather than the special blue ones we've got in Europe. So it gives you sort of an indication of what other games you could expect to pick up. Pixel Heart Dreamcast compatible games, they're called now. So you can order them from pixelheart.eu. They've got a fair few of them still in stock, but not all of them. So it's worth keeping in mind that they do sell out. Now, I did a bit of low-level beta testing for the next game that's coming up, and this one might be a bit familiar to you if you're anything into sort of last releases for consoles. That this here was Andro Dunos 2 was the last release for the 3DS over in Europe. Pixel Heart managed to pick up the last batch of cartridges and stuff, and they were the last ones to get an approved release on the console, and it was Andro Dunos 2. So it's quite interesting to see that the 128-bit Sega has got a later release of this game. We're talking sort of 18 months, 2 years down the line, and here it is for the Dreamcast itself. So this one is developed by Pickering Soft rather than Visco. I'm not 100% sure whether it is made up of the same team or not, or whether this is a different team of guys that have made this. But obviously put it in the comment section if you know a bit more than I on this. And again, we've got sort of similar thing with the Pixel Heart Dreamcast backwards logo going, almost like the Dreamcast back in the day, if you remember that. If not, Google it. And again, sort of just standard text typeface. It's pretty cool. Josh Probert in there. And similar fare again, so French is your first language. A pure homage to classic 90s arcade shoot 'em up. And what I've played of this, it's actually quite an enjoyable game. I do actually strongly recommend this one. I haven't played the first game here, and I do plan to play on that. But this one here, I did have it on my GDMU where I was supplied it by Josh Pod, which was nice. And it looks alright, doesn't it? I mean, copy number 239 of 3,000. Was it 3,000 copies for the other one as well? Was it 2,000 copies? So 2,000 copies of that one, and 3,000 copies are made of this. But there are actually different editions of this one as well, which include a soundtrack CD with it. So they're obviously expecting this one to sell a wee bit better than the first game, which was also slightly cheaper as well. I think only by about €5 or so. So Visco are actually credited on the back of this, so they must have some sort of involvement, whether it's to do with the IP or whatever. But let's sort of go into the case and have a little look, shall we, and see. So I'm surprised it didn't say 2023, so it must have been sat on this one for a little while, the package design being completed before the actual main software was, which does happen. In fact, it happened loads in the Dreamcast generation, that some games would come out. In fact, the last commercial games that came out in 2002 for Dreamcast were they're credited for being 2001 copyrights on them, when in actual fact they were sat on and released by Big Ben in the later part of 2002. I'm just rambling just to fill the time life in this case. You're not interested in that, you're not here to see this. You're here to see what's inside this. The history lesson. Okay. I made a pig's ear of this one, didn't I? Made it look semi-pro on the other one. There we go. Handed over in Dreamcast cases. Should be a video in itself. Right, okay. Get inside there and have a look at that disc. Yeah, okay, it looks right, doesn't it? Same artwork. Fair enough, isn't it? Yeah, again, so same as the Andro Dunos 1. You've got your artwork, and then where Dreamcast would have been written is your information about this game. Another silver disc. And I should imagine probably it's going to be the same situation when I flick to the back of this. But yeah, so you've got your certificate of authenticity there, which is signed. Founder of Pixel Heart. I feel like I should put my signature on the other side, actually, sort of like a binding contract. I bought this game, and yeah, so limited to 3,000 copies, and yeah, it's nice to see blue case Dreamcast games still being released, because although minor grumblings aside that I've got about these, they do fit in very nicely with if you've got a library of PAL games. I must admit I'm shying away now from buying games that aren't in the blue cases because they just don't fit in, and I'm going to do an article on Dreamcast today about this at some point in the near future, about how the artwork for a lot of these independent Dreamcast games just doesn't really fit in. So you have your American releases, your Japanese releases, your PAL releases, but then a lot of these games that have come out in recent times seems to be a mix up of in between that, and sometimes they just seem to stick out like a sore thumb. So I'm being very selective. Anything that's come out on the NES, for example, and hasn't had any further enhancements, I'm not bothering with. Yeah, it's all been done in NES Maker anyway. Right, anyway, so going back to this, so yeah, you can get both of these now. They are available, and this in particular, I'm really, really looking forward to just going back in to play the final version of it, because I was playing a beta version, and this chap here I've never played before, so I'm looking forward to giving him a try. Support your Dreamcast scene. They are available, readily available. Some of the earlier stuff that Judge Prod and Pixel Hut have released has sold out, so you will be paying scalpers prices for that. But with 3,000 copies of this available, plus the further one for the limited edition version, I should imagine it probably will hang around in stock for a little while. You certainly still get the 3DS version of this, and it was also released, I think, on the Switch and the PS4 as well. So yeah, there we go. It's 2 new Dreamcast games for 2023, and there's more to come. I'm hoping that Pixel Heart are going to release some more games. I mean, I've been sat on a game of theirs, which I don't think they've even announced yet. I can't talk anything about that, obviously. So hopefully that one will come into light sometime in the near future. But for now, pick these games up and get Platinum and Dreamcast. The Sega consoles have always been great at having sort of space shooters and stuff like that. So the trend is continuing, and long may it so. So catch you next video. See you later.